Live, local, late breaking. This is KEZI 9 News Midday.
Well, good morning. Thanks for joining us here for KEZI 9 News at Midday. I'm Adam Miranda.
And I'm Storm Tracker 9 meteorologist Cameron Landfield.
All right, Cameron, we had a beautiful weekend, but that's obviously not lasting.
Yeah, Saturday was absolutely gorgeous, but right now, clearly, it's very different. Seeing a lot of rainfall out there right now. Let's go ahead and have a look at that, actually. I've got a couple cameras queued up for you right now. So you can see just how dreary and rainy it is right now. We are getting just the back half of some of the rainfall that went over California in the last couple days here. Not nearly as strong out in our area, of course, but it is part of the same storm system. Roseburg there looking completely apocalyptic, actually, with that rainfall right now. And of course, Corvallis is wet as well, but they're not as wet as every other area. Down towards the south, we'll see most of that rain today. Temperature is currently sitting in those mid-40s, 46 for Eugene, a little bit warmer, and just a degree above freezing out in Santiam Pass. Should get some snow today too, but very little. On the coast, looking at those high 40s right now, so it's a little warmer than on the interior, but it's not too big of a difference between the coast and inland for today. Down in the south, we're losing a little bit of heat, 41 for Winston there and 43 for Roseburg. They've got a little bit thicker cloud coverage, so less of the sun's rays are heating up that area. And on the coast, though, it's still in those mid to high 40s. Now, for the high temps today, we are going to be getting close to 50, but not quite there. 49 for the most part. Roseburg picking up a little extra heat, and 52 along the coast. Of course, we've got more rainfall and some more snow out over the mountains as well. So I'll show you what that's looking like for the remainder of today's accumulations and how that's going to impact the rest of the week in a couple more minutes.
Cameron, thank you very much. Today, Oregon state lawmakers are meeting in Salem for the start of the 2024 legislative short session. They have 35 days to pass legislation for this year. Now, all eyes will be on several key bills, but lawmakers say they're ready to focus on this session, potentially reforming Measure 110. And lawmakers we spoke with sounded cautiously optimistic Measure 110 will come out of this session reformed. Democratic State Senator Floyd Przansky serves on the special joint committee working on Measure 110. He expects there will be changes on the measure in the session. It's just a matter of what both sides can agree on.
There are some things that were unintended consequences, and I believe we will be addressing those unintended consequences in the short session, and we'll be looking at long-term as to what else we need to be doing, specifically dealing with public consumption. And I guess most of us just didn't think people would be out in public smoking methamphetamine. So we're going to see some shape of recriminalization.
He pointed out the possible negative effects of recriminalization, like the overwhelming impact on Oregon's public defense crisis, adding 4,000 new cases. But he did emphasize no matter what comes out of any Measure 110 reform, state mental health and drug addiction centers still need the money and resources to make Measure 110 work in the long run, something Republican State Representative Charlie Conrad agrees with.
I'm not sure at this point in time what the final outcome is going to be, but some of the things that I hope and that I think will be included in that, it's going to be funding, and it's going to be funding to increase capacity for mental health and addiction treatment. I think there's broad agreement on that, and I'm not sure how much funding we'll be able to dedicate to that, but any amount is better than what we're doing now.
Rep. Conrad also is for some form of recriminalization Class A misdemeanors for drug possession. And last week, the Springfield City Council voted to recriminalize drug use on public property, an indication that some local governments are ready for some change to be enacted here on Measure 110 at the state level during the session. And in the next half hour, we'll highlight the plans Governor Kotek has for this legislative session. As you get ready to leave the house, we're taking a look at gas prices at the pump, and in our gas tracker coverage, we're starting to see an increase here in the Eugene area. A gallon of regular gas is about $3.37. The national price of diesel's also gone up by 3 cents and stands at $3.92 per gallon. The cheapest station in Eugene was showing $3.06 as of Sunday, and the most expensive was priced at $3.99. It's almost $4. Gas Buddy reports prices are going up in several states. Although they are somewhat tame, this is likely to keep going up by the end of the month. Prices also could go down because of a sell-off of winter gas, but don't let that fool you. Prices could go up shortly after that. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at prices around the state. Right now, prices in Medford are $3.51. just up a penny from last week. Salem also saw almost a penny increase in prices, sitting at $3.37. Portland is always higher than everyone else, so they're sitting at $3.76. That's a 4-cent drop, actually, from last week. But as always, you can go to gasbuddy.com for the latest price in your area. In a traffic alert, starting today and on Tuesday, 12th Street will be closed between D and Oak Street in Lebanon as the fire district moves one step closer to opening its new station. Detours will be marked and people living in the area will be able to get in and out, but there could be some short periods of blocked driveways as well as some other delays. The overall station project is expected to be finished by April. Moving back home here in Eugene, construction has started on West 8th Avenue from Monroe to Garfield. The drivers should anticipate delays. Even though the road is still open, construction equipment will be out. So please look for signs, then follow them, and also look out for those barricades. Now, if you can, you are asked to use the West Broadway or West 7th Avenue directions, and this will help workers move quickly and increase safety. And caught on camera, Oregon State Police captured video of a near miss. I mean, take a look at this video with me here. It was shared by OSP on Facebook. Now, it's not clear when or how this happened, but they say a car with balding tires that slid off the wet highway, hit a slope, then rolled over. Thankfully, no one on the road or shoulder were hit, and the driver was not injured. State police say it's crucial that people move over or slow down when you see emergency vehicles out on the side of the road. Drive careful in bad weather and make sure your car is properly maintained. That means change those tires. All right, moving to a follow-up. Members of the Fern Ridge Christian Church in Elmira are still picking up pieces after a car had slammed into one of their buildings on Thursday night. And the pastor is hoping drivers can learn something from this incident. The church's lead pastor, Rick Helen, says the crash damaged plumbing systems and forced them to cancel Sunday services. He says the idea something like this happened in a small community is astonishing.
Please see this as what could happen. Real people who are doing these stupid things, but there are real people who are affected, and I would really hate to see somebody lose their life or have their life completely altered.
Helen says they've been able to restore plumbing to the buildings and are planning to get the facility surveyed. He's hopeful that services can return by next Sunday. And continuing coverage of the Eugene Weekly after it was set back by alleged embezzlement. A local art gallery is stepping up and selling art pieces to raise money. New Zone Gallery on East 11th Avenue kicked off the fundraiser on January 31st, selling works donated by local artists for the cause. As we reported before, the newspaper had to stop printing and lay off its entire staff late last December after thousands of dollars were allegedly embezzled from the business. Artists contributing to the fundraisers say the paper promoted their work as a patron of the arts, and it's only right for them to give back.
We don't really have that local paper that we used to have, so nothing's getting written about, and the Weekly has always done a great job. They've done articles about us. They cover the ballet, the symphony, visual arts, and we need them, and they've done a great job for us for many years.
Money from the fundraiser goes directly to Eugene Weekly. Story Cunningham says they've already sold some of the art pieces to buyers, and the effort will continue towards the end of the month, possibly even into next month. And the editor of the Eugene Weekly tells us they have been able to hire back some full and part-time staff, and the paper will return to print on Thursday. Exciting news. Continuing coverage on the U.S. military action in the Middle East. The series of strikes over the weekend in retaliation for the deadly drone attack that killed 3 American service members and attacks on international shipping. ABC's Mary Bruce has the latest.
This morning, President Biden's vowing further retaliation as the U.S. launches a wave of airstrikes against Iran-backed militant groups across the Middle East. It began late Friday, a powerful response to the drone attack that killed 3 American soldiers and injured more than 40 at a remote U.S. base in Jordan. The U.S. hitting 85 targets at 7 different locations inside Iraq and Syria, including command control centers and rocket and missile depots. Local authorities reporting dozens killed. U.S. officials say the strikes were successful in degrading and disrupting the militants' ability to attack U.S. forces, and that there's more to come.
This was the beginning of our response. There will be more steps. Some of those steps will be seen, some may not be seen.
A retaliation campaign now running alongside the Allied effort to halt attacks from Iran-backed militants targeting vital international shipping routes. Over the weekend, the U.S. and U.K., backed by 6 partners, hitting dozens of Houthi targets across Yemen. Strikes launched by warships and fighter jets. The U.S. also taking out cruise missiles that posed an imminent threat to U.S. Navy ships and merchant vessels in the region. The coalition saying they will not hesitate to continue to defend lives and the free flow of commerce. But weeks of strikes on the Houthis have not halted their relentless attacks. Still, the president standing by his response.
Are the airstrikes working? Yes.